Hey guys, welcome back to the B.Y.O show. I'm Jordan.
I'm Ryan.
And again, this week we've got a crap load to talk about, so let's jump right into it.
Alright, so as always, Geordie, I've got a list here, heaps of stuff this week to talk about. I'll just shoot through the list, some of the things that popped out for me over the last 7 days, and then you can earmark anything that you think you want to have a chat about, and we'll come back to it. So we got some information finally on, there's been sort of discussions forever about a live action Tom and Jerry show. Well, not really live action, I guess it's like hybrid because it'd be from Warner Media, so like sort of a Space Jam situation. We finally got some casting news on that we can have a chat about. Days Gone from Ben Studios, which is a big PlayStation 4 exclusive open world sort of shooter survival game, is finally released. And I'm probably about 10 or 11 hours into that. That's something we can have a chat about if you're interested. Denis Villeneuve, obviously maker of Arrival and Prisoners and all those, Blade Runner 2049, like literally hasn't made a bad movie ever. This dude's an absolute genius. We got some information about his upcoming Dune movie and potential for sequels there. Craziest cast I've ever seen assembled for a movie ever. We've got Netflix has officially cancelled Santa Clarita Diet after season 3, which I am insanely pissed off about. Not a massive surprise, even though that show's super been it's super beloved. But Netflix usually has like a 3-season limit for scripted comedies, and that's something we can come back and talk about. They're doing a live action Rugrats movie based off of like the Nickelodeon show from when I was a kid, and obviously you would remember as well. And then I thought we could probably just talk about spoiler specific, but just like a quick little general chat about Avengers, and then and sort of what we thought now that that's out there in the world. So anything there in particular that jumps out?
Well, I hadn't really heard anything until today when I'd seen the casting announcement for Tom and Jerry. It sounds...
So who is it? Who's the casting announcement?
Well, it's final negotiations for Chloe Grace Moretz.
Hit Girl.
Yeah, Hit Girl.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I mean...
So it's confirmed hybrid animation?
That's what it's saying. So Space Jam, Roger Rabbit style, which I'm super pumped for. Like what
happened to that technology was amazing, and it just sort of like
I think
drifted
it just
off.
Was too difficult. I think it's a very hard style.
Would that be more expensive to shoot something with live action plates and then animate characters into them, or would it be more expensive to just have a fully animated environment?
I couldn't say, but I mean, if you're doing it on film back in the day, then that would have taken forever. But
so is there any information about who Chloe Grace Moretz is playing or anything like that, or like do we know who's directing this movie?
I don't think we've got much information. Oh, Tim Story actually is the director. He's
Tim Story
Fantastic Four,
Fantastic Four, and Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, both.
That's right.
Taxi. Queen Latifah and Jimmy
Fallon. Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
Was that the one that the taxi like transformed?
That one.
God. He's doing. I think he did the ride along movies, and I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. We'd have to maybe look it up. I'm pretty sure he's doing Monopoly as well after this.
I think so.
Interesting. All right. Well, interesting.
I mean, I'm excited because that means we've got that and a Space Jam 2 in the same style that we grew up with
King James.
As kids. Like, I'm super pumped to see where they go with it.
Hopefully they're successful and that technology comes back around.
I would love to see it again.
I miss that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
Like it's a technology that I feel like they didn't really explore fully, to be honest. Sorry, I'm just playing with these batteries because, as you guys know, we've had issues with sound equipment, batteries and power and stuff like that. So we've got a collection of batteries in our office here now. So so if you're cool, I want to actually switch lanes here and talk about gaming for 2 seconds.
Of course.
We're not going to go in order of everything that I just announced then. But basically, Days Gone has come out. I think it was yesterday, or it was yesterday in Australia, and it was everywhere else overnight or something. Like, obviously, time zone's been a clusterfuck. But now it's from Ben Studios, who has, I think, 2 different studios on either side of the US. But Basically, it's like a survival open world thing. It's kind of Red Dead Redemption-esque or GTA-esque.
Cross with
cross with like The Last of Us, and it's got like a bit of Horizon Zero Dawn in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring it up and talk about it because there's been like a sort of an uproar online because there's all of these like gaming journalists that obviously have early access. That have all given it really poor reviews.
Yeah.
So like it's getting like 5s from Game Informer, like 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So 2.5 stars from Game Informer and like some of these other or GameStop, some of these other places. And like I'm 10 hours into this game now, right?
Yeah.
And it's maybe my favourite game of 2019 so far. I'm having way more fun with this than I did with Red Dead Redemption. And that's no slight, like Red Dead Redemption obviously is a masterpiece in game design, but the story of that didn't really like grasp me. This, I don't know whether it's because it's coupled with a really good performance from Sam Witwer, who plays the main character Deacon in this.
Yep.
And Sam Witwer, you guys would either know, depending on if you know him from TV or from gaming. He was the Secret Apprentice in the Force Unleashed games. Smallville fans, so like a lot of you guys that are coming from my Instagram as Smallville fans will know him as Doomsday in Smallville.
Yeah.
Other people will know him from other stuff. He's on Supergirl at the moment, playing another character as well. So. I just wanted to talk about that really quickly because, like, you've seen me playing it.
Yeah, well,
we've talked about it a little bit,
it.
And I just don't get where this random conversation of like mediocrity has come from. I don't know whether they're trying to like knock PlayStation down a notch or something like that.
I mean, from what I've seen, it looks fun. It's definitely one that I think I'm probably going to pick up because it looks like you're having a hell of a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah.
Its story seems great from the couple of hours that I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand where
I don't know.
Like, does it falter at the end or?
Well, so this is the thing. So a lot of those early access things, those guys have got access to a game like 7 days to 14 days before like wide release.
Yeah.
There's people in the UK and like other places in Europe that have had access to the game for considerably longer. And they're, there's journalists now tweeting out like they're 55, 60, 65 hours deep into the story. And a lot of people are in agreement with me. They're saying like this is genuinely one of my favourite games of this generation, but B, of the year so far.
Yeah.
So it just really took me off guard, and I thought like, we get to talk about movies and gaming and stuff a fair amount on here, and just if anyone that's watching is sort of like, on the precipice of maybe deciding whether they're going to get it or not based on what they've heard, I just wanted to throw out some positivity there because I'm having an absolute fucking blast, and my Instagram and Twitter feeds and stuff are reflective of that. So
copying it.
Now, while I'm feeling good and have got a rush of endorphins, I wanted to talk really quickly about, and this is not a show that you've watched, but Netflix.
I've seen the first season. Yeah.
Netflix overnight has officially confirmed that they've cancelled Santa Clarita Diet, which is a zombie comedy. It's hard to fit into a normal box of like network television
because it's so different.
Yeah,
it combines so many different genres into one.
Absolutely,
and it's such a unique show.
It's Drew Barrymore, Timothy Oliphant, and a young Australian actress named Liv Hewson plays this family. And obviously, Drew. What happens? This is not a spoiler. This is how the show starts. But Drew Barrymore essentially becomes the undead. She's a zombie, and it's the last 3 seasons has been of them as realtors, like trying to deal with like life, the new type of life, like being undead and what that means. And they built this big lore out, and like there's a history of things. And I'm just really pissed off about it because they introduced a lot of really interesting ideas in season 3 that obviously you haven't been able to have a chance to check out. And I do hope that you guys will still support shows like that even when they do get cancelled, because there's so much good storytelling in shows that end prematurely.
Well, I know most of my family love it. It's their favourite show. It's one of those shows that they're waiting for it to drop every year, so they're going to be devastated that it's cancelled. It's a shame because I've only ever people that have watched the whole thing so far have only ever said good things. So I really, it's a shame. Yeah, definitely. For sure.
And I've seen like as with me here, like it's obviously the reaction is one of great disappointment and a bit of anger because there's storylines that obviously won't be finished off and things like that. But it's one of those things where Netflix at the moment, like with the cancellation of, I think they had a massive show that was like One Day at a Time or something that they just cancelled, which again was hugely popular, like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for all 3 seasons, I believe. Like it was like a rare trifecta or something, and they've cancelled that as well. And sort of, there's so much backlash over some of these beloved shows getting cancelled that Netflix has actually had to release statements and say, like, look, we understand that you love these shows and that there's like a vocal minority of people that love these shows, but there's just not enough people showing up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, from a business aspect, I can understand that. But the whole reason that people were attracted to Netflix in the first place, and filmmakers and artists especially were attracted to Netflix on the business side, was because if they were picked up for the season 1 and it didn't go well, sometimes they would get the opportunity, or most of the time with Netflix originally, they would get the opportunity to wrap up some of those tales with like a final episode that they would let them shoot outside of their normal scheduling, or a movie in the case of Sense8, which was cancelled, and same sort of thing, got a massive backlash, and then they were able to tie up all their loose ends with a movie that I don't know whether it's come out yet, or it did come out.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
to be honest,
not something that we watched, but something that I support. I support that, like artists being able to finish
these
their
past
story.
couple months, it just seems like Netflix is just like cut this, cut that, like all the Marvel shows.
Yeah,
it just it's insane. It feels like they're just losing so much content.
Yeah, good content. They're good content.
Yeah.
They've still got heaps of content.
Yeah.
And this is a conversation that we'd had previously, and not to hate on Netflix. Obviously, we still love Netflix. In as a company, and like how they've changed the game.
Yeah.
But in regards to like some of the business decisions and getting rid of good content and spending money on things, so like say Beyonce's concert that cost was a $60 million contract to be able to have access to that documentary.
Yeah.
As much as you love Beyonce, not me, but there's you know what I mean, like it's one of those things where that's $60 million worth of original content that we've missed out on because they've gone for like we'll shoot for the star rather than get like the good original content that was bringing people in.
$100 million on Friends.
That's crazy.
For a year. As well.
That's crazy. I feel like we've talked about this for too long already. I'm super pissed off. Check out Santa Clarita Diet. If you're like me and you end up liking this show, which a lot of people do, just like tweet out some support for it. Like all of the guys that make the show, the people that make the show, I'm sure are devastated. There's a heap of jobs that'll be lost.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like that. But anyway, let's bring it back around to something that potentially is good, potentially is horrendous. Rugrats. So Nickelodeon Rugrats.
Loved it as a kid.
Same.
It's amazing. I think it's one of those 90s.
Yeah.
90s kids.
Yeah, it lives in that like 90s elite of like Cartoon Network shows and like Nickelodeon, Nicktoons and stuff where it's like
the prime.
Yeah, and it's like Rugrats and you Rocko's Modern Life and stuff like that, and Hey Arnold and Recess, and like it's that sort of like upper echelon of like cartoons from when we were kids.
Definitely.
Now they're doing a live action. I guess it's not a reboot. They're just doing like a live action version of the show. Now the issue that I have with this is that so they've announced, I think it's David B.Y.O, I think is the guy that's directing it. So he did he did the original 3 live action Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. Which I actually will admit, I fucking love those movies. Like I own, I think the first 2 on Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like they're obviously incredibly juvenile, but I love those movies. They're, movies with a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Now they've brought him on, which is obviously that's good news in my regard. They confirmed that the babies will be CGI creations.
What that means at this stage, we've got no idea. It could be
like
Lion King style, make them look as real as they can, or it could be Tom and Jerry style that they're going for, which would be horrible, I think. Or it could also be like I don't know, Disney Toy Story style CGI mixed with people.
Well, it is live action. Like it's live action, and then it's only going to be the kids that are CG.
Which I think the best outcome would be if they are going the Lion King style, where they're going to make the babies
as real
look
as
real as possible,
like photorealistic.
Yeah. Which...
I'm super nervous about this, man. I'm super nervous. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I was like, I had dry mouth from like trying not to be nervous about this.
They're working with characters which are from the age of like less than 1 to, what's Chucky and Angelica, like 5?
No, God, no.
Angelica's
definitely like 4 or 5 because she goes to school, but Chucky's only like 2 or 3. Like he still has nappies and stuff on. So, I don't know, man. Like this could literally go either way.
Yeah.
Like I'm super excited because I love the franchise. I love all the movies that they did, and like that weird crossover they did with Wild Thornberrys, and like this is where like Bruce Willis was the dog and shit. Like, just fucking weird.
A lot of great memories from those shows, though. But
I just, and like obviously this movie's not made for me. It's not made for you. It's not made for probably anyone watching this. It's made for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's because it's ultimately it comes down to the bottom line is money, and there's a franchise that they maybe want to push.
Yeah. And it'll be our generation taking their kids to go and see it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's exactly the same as what Disney's betting on for Lion King and Aladdin and all that sort of stuff, and it's exactly what like the Pokemon company's betting on for Mewtwo Evolution.
Yeah.
Like what is it? Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. What we talked about the other week. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm weirdly nervous about this.
Until we see a teaser or something, we can't really judge it. But
as long as it's the original voice cast.
Who knows?
It has to be the original voice. Yeah, like I can't. Who else? No, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it because I'm nervous. It makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. All right. Well, we should probably talk. So Dune, or June. That's such a weird word when you really think about it.
Yeah.
So I used to think it was Denis Villeneuve because I'm Australian. Denis Villeneuve. Obviously, director of Arrival, best science fiction movie of all time. Amy Adams should have won a fucking Oscar. This is a whole big rant that I could go on. Prisoners, Blade Runner 2049, which we both absolutely loved.
Yeah.
God, what else has he done? He's done so much stuff. Enemy, Sicario, like Prisoners, I already talked about. He literally hasn't made a bad movie, ever. And like, he writes some of his movies too, so like, it's pretty full on.
Yeah.
Now they've confirmed, originally I think we thought that they were splitting his Dune movie into 2 movies, which was kind of a trend that it looked like Justice League was going to do that for a little while, and then I guess Avengers kind of did it. Like that was eventually. Remember when it was announced? It was Infinity War Part 1, Infinity War Part 2.
Yeah.
And I think they did it with Harry Potter forever ago. Anyway,
Twilight.
It was a Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's right, Twilight. God.
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
Everything based on a
So
book.
yeah, so it was like and so obviously Dune, for those who don't know, massive science fiction epic. It's a book. I forget the writer's name. I thought I put it in the notes somewhere. Frank Herbert, I think it was. And it's massive. Like the book's, it's an old book, but it's one of those things that's very well respected. It's sort of a futurist, post-apocalyptic kind of thing, and they have like
very
spice mines.
Ahead of its time.
Very much so. And this is, I should say, actually, this is not the first or second time that they've tried to make live action versions of this. There's a really famous movie that nearly happened forever ago called from a filmmaker called Alejandro Jodorowsky, and there's a big documentary that you can watch about that called Jodorowsky's Dune that you can find online, you can buy it and stuff like that, and it sort of eventually morphed into what would then become David Lynch's version of Dune from 1984, I think, which had like Patrick Stewart and like a lot of like name actors from the time. Bombed hardcore, has like a rabid fan base, but bombed hardcore. So I should say this isn't like a reboot of that. This is Denis Villeneuve and his team are doing a whole new adaptation based specifically off the Frank Herbert novel. Now this is the cast. I don't know if you've seen any of the cast, but this is the announced cast so far, and they are filming right now. So I have to take a deep breath because there's a shit ton of people. Jason Momoa, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, David Bautista, Oscar Isaac, Timothy Chalamet, Stellan Skarsgård, Javier Bardem, Charlotte Rampling, David Desmalchin, and the whole new original music composed by Hans Zimmer, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
That's
if this
insane.
movie doesn't win an Oscar, I will shave my head in a video. You can shave my head in a video.
Again, yes.
Yeah. Again. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's so much talent.
Cast.
So much talent. So they've announced. So like I was saying, we thought that they were announcing that they would split it into two movies because it was just too big.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. It was the studio head saying, we're letting Denis do exactly what he needs to do, very hands off. But they pretty much confirmed, like, we have plans in place right now.
Yeah.
For at least one sequel.
Yeah.
So the book,
since the book was released, they'd made a bunch of prequels and sequels
that's
to
right.
it. So
That's right.
the world is so vast.
Yeah.
Itself. So.
Well, some of them were even prequels, set before, like, the initial story. People should look into it. Like, it could be, if treated correctly, it could be as big as a Star Wars or as big as an MCU.
Well, initially it was meant to predate Star Wars, the first movie, right?
Yeah, the Jodorowsky one. Yeah, there was a lot of artwork in that sort of informed George Lucas and, like, Ralph McQuarrie.
And a lot of sci-fi, modern sci-fi, and even early, from Star Wars was inspired by it. Like, even up to, like, Terminator, the way that he looks through his eyes was based off concept from Dune.
Yeah, and there was, I forget the guy's name, H.R. Geiger, who did a lot of the designs for Alien, like Ridley Scott's Alien, which obviously informed an entire franchise, an entire, like, world. A lot of his early stuff too was, like, based off of that as well. So
it's just crazy.
It's just insane. So, like, that's definitely something that people need to check out, keep an eye on. That's going to be massive. That movie's going to be huge.
I just hope it doesn't bomb like John Carter.
Yeah, we're in different times now, though.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if
with a cast like that, it can't, surely.
Yeah. Well, like, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, Aquaman made, like, what, $1.4 billion. People weren't going to see that movie for Patrick Wilson and Amber Heard and Nicole Kidman and stuff. They went to see that movie for Jason Momoa. Yeah. And Jason Momoa, out of that cast, is, like, second or third tier. Yeah. Compared to, like, some of the talent that's...
Well, people go and see it just for Zendaya.
Yeah.
Like, people go and see it just for Batista. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac has, like, there's, like, a weird part of the internet that has, like, an Oscar Isaac fetish. Like, there's, like, a photo of him and they're like, he should be Batman and he should be Nathan Drake from Uncharted and he should play, if they ever do a movie version of Stranger Things, he should play this character. And, like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, but anyway, no, super talented dude. But it's going to make so much money. It's going to be nominated for Oscars. I think out of everyone on that list, I'm probably most happy to see David Dastmalchian, because that dude is super talented and, like, only shows up in, like, bit parts in, like, Ant-Man, and they make him put on this, like, stupid Russian accent and stuff like that. And, like, he's super, 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 super talented. Like, he's got a really cool story about, like, because he sort of wasn't an actor and he started acting and, like, rocked up in The Dark Knight. And that was sort of, like, his first role was working with, like, Christopher Nolan, and had, like, a scene with the guy who played Two-Face, who I always forget his name. Yeah, anyway. I don't know who he is. Aaron Eckhart, that's who I'm talking about. And obviously, Christopher Nolan and, like, everyone that was involved in that movie. Crazy. And, like, it was, like, a big deal, and he's got a really cool story. I'd love to talk to him at some point. I've had some back and forth with him on Twitter, and he's good friends with James Gunn and everyone. So, but super excited for that. Now, the last thing that we thought we'd talk about very quickly, because obviously Avengers is out. Like I said, big preface, no spoilers. We're not going into spoilers. We're not talking spoilers or anything like that. We are going to do a spoiler review, like a full-on spoiler review, where we're going to sit down and talk about it for 20 minutes or so.
Geek out for far too long.
Yeah, because it was, and like, people know, like, very much so, I'm far more a DC fan. I grew up far more of a DC Comics fan than I ever was for Marvel or any of the other comic book companies. But this is the culmination of so many movies and so many franchises and over a decade of storytelling and production and whatever. And this is, in my opinion, the single biggest achievement in the history of cinema. Yeah, it's
insane. Yeah. It really outdid all my expectations. It was I want to talk about it so much, but it's go and watch it. Seriously, it's well and truly worth it.
Yeah.
It really was an amazing end to 11 years.
It really
22 movies.
Yeah.
There's so many moments that everything that people have been asking for since Iron Man.
Yeah.
There was fulfilled. I think. I mean, obviously, there's bits and pieces which I think people would have liked, but it was.
We'll talk about it.
It was beautiful.
I just spilt water on myself. It's going to show up on the thing.
Fantastic.
That's fine. I know how to drink. I've drank all the time ever since all 30 years of my life.
Doing well.
But no, we just wanted to touch on that really quickly and just say, like, yes, we are going to do a spoiler review.
Yeah.
We both liked it. We've had big conversations about it already. We kind of have specific things that we want to touch on and talk about, maybe some ideas for the MCU moving forward, some of the stuff that's announced already, and maybe talk about like what angle we think they might be coming from. But we just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that spoiler review was coming.
Yeah, and give everyone else a chance to see it, or at least see it 10, 15 times, whatever.
How many hours? That's so many hours. It doesn't feel like that though.
Not at all. No. It felt like it went by too quickly.
So do you want to give it like a star rating or like a thumbs up rating? You can't really like.
No, let's save that for our spoiler review, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, just no, we loved it,
Yeah.
and I think that most people watching are gonna love it too because it was so good. It was so good.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up, guys. We've got that was a good episode. We got a lot of different stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where some of this stuff sort of is going to go, what direction it's going to take.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great to be able to talk about it a bit deeper. In deeper sort of respect in the future and see how it all goes. But thanks for checking us out, guys. It's always good to each week to be able to sit down and have a chat. Check out some of we've got some other reaction videos up now. We've got obviously a couple of episodes now of our actual show, the B.Y.O show, available as well. Like we always say, if you've got any feedback, you've got anything that you want us to be talking about, or checking out or reacting to or whatever, you can leave comments, you can send us messages on Instagram, Twitter, we've got links and all that sort of stuff in the description. Subscribe, like, share, all that sort of stuff.
Speaking of Avengers, if there's anything you noticed or want us to talk about in our upcoming video, let us know, because
drop us some.
I'm sure there's things we've missed.
Messages.
So that'd be great.
Alright, cool. Well, I guess that's it for now, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Catch ya.
See you guys.